Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, TheMadKaiger. Up here today, guys, with the third video in sort of a line of videos that I didn't really plan out at first, but now that they're all together, it's actually worked out quite well. You may remember a couple of years ago I did a video called Hidden Gems on the Xbox 360, and that video was really popular, surprisingly, and I really enjoyed that video. And then of course we did a continuation. Then of course
I don't know who ate the soup, so...
Well, I don't know. Kieran probably. Then we did a continuation with that with the updated Hidden Gems 360 video, and then we did the recommendations video. I don't know if I've done a recommendation for the Xbox 360, but I think I have, although that was sort of like the second video I did was more of a combination. But today, guys, we are talking about, in my opinion, the best 20 of the best games on the Xbox 360. So this is for people who haven't got an Xbox 360 or might have an Xbox 360 and want to sort of know some games, the best ones that are out there. Bear in mind, if I don't have a game, it's not going to be included, but I will do some honest mentions, honourable mentions at the end of the video. You know, the Xbox 360 it's a fantastic console, but the good news is, you know, most Xbox 360 games, at least the ones that I've got here, almost most of them work on the Xbox One, and that's what I love about the Xbox 360, is that even if you don't have an Xbox 360 anymore, you can still go back and relive some of the classics and learn maybe try out something new that you never tried out when it first came out on the Xbox One, which is great. But we're not here to talk about the Xbox One, we're here to talk about the games. Bear in mind, there's more than 20 games here, but some of them are a part of a series. So if it's part of a series where the series is just as good all the way through, then that's why I've included them as part of one. But of course, we've got to start strong, guys, with, in my opinion, probably one of the best exclusives on the Xbox 360, the Gears of War trilogy. Now, there was Judgment, but I don't think Judgment was as good. It wasn't as good of a game, but it all began with you got an ashtray bent. It all began with Gears of War. This was like a launch title.
Smoking in the house.
This was a launch title for the Xbox 360, and what a good one at that. It revolutionized the cover-based system in video games. You know, other video games have used cover-based system, but this game, in my opinion, perfected it. It was a fantastic third-person game, great co-op game. The multiplayer was fun, and it really hit off. The second game, however, is where, in my opinion, they took it really seriously. This game, in my opinion, had the best campaign in any Gears of War game. It was amazing. Going inside the giant worm was crazy. These are definitely games that I would go back and play again, possibly with Heather, maybe. You know, maybe teach her some good games other than Call of Duty Black Ops 4. But yeah, of course, being a fan of Gears of War, have to have the limited edition, and surprisingly, dirt cheap these games are. This game not only included the much better campaign, but it also included a horde mode, which was a really good survival game. Had a lot of fun with this game back in the day. And then, of course, in my opinion, the best Gears of War game, Gears of War 3. This game, in my opinion, it took what was great about the first two games. It expanded on the horde mode, added a mode called beast mode. The multiplayer was great, and the campaign was just as fun, and the arcade campaign was really fun as well, giving you the opportunity to play through the campaign online with 4 players, and you know, a more arcadey style, so if you die you come back and stuff like that. And I really think that Gears of War 1, 2 and 3, in my opinion, are the ones that you really want to care about. Judgment, in my opinion, wasn't a bad game. I played some the other day, actually, surprisingly, and it wasn't a bad game, but it was made by a different developer, and it just didn't feel as good as it should have been. It weren't a bad game upon playing it again. I think it's pretty good actually, but don't have a physical copy of it. You can get all of these games on the Game Pass, and they all work on the Xbox One. And of course, Gears of War 4 is also an Xbox One exclusive. Really good game. I don't play it a lot, but really good game. Maybe 5 might bring me back. I don't know. And then we have a series that just is proof that bare bones, and it's just pure gameplay, and just having a basic system that can work. Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. I even got my partner Heather involved in some Left 4 Dead 2, and we'll probably play some more tonight actually. It's crazy. Where's that light gone? One sec. Yeah, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 was amazing. I remember when I was actually in Scouts when this game came out. Fucking hell. And I remember me and Ryan playing this game, and he told me about this game, and we played it, and oh boy did we have a good time. And the second game, we were so hyped for the second game, it didn't disappoint. Both of these games are backwards compatible, as with all the DLC, and I personally would recommend Left 4 Dead 2 because you can get all the missions from the campaigns from the first game. The first game has its quirks about it, some little things that you can't do in the second game, but what made these games so great was the fact of it was kind of a basic game. There's no leveling up system, there's no upgrading, it's just quite simple, get from point A to point B. And what made these games so great, not only was the fast-paced arcade action style gameplay, and the gore in this game is fantastic as well. What made these games so great was the fact that it used like a dungeon master, like if you play Dungeons and Dragons, where you have like a guy an AI controlled dungeon master who basically will spawn in the horde, will spawn in the weapons, and it changes each time you play it. Really interesting. And you can actually walk through the mission, the game, and it will do like a documentary kind of thing, and sort of tell you the backstory behind it, and it's really interesting. I'd recommend checking that out. And for those of you who are fans of Left 4 Dead, like I said, they are backwards compatible, and the good news is Left 4 Dead 2 is now been Xbox One X enhanced. Yep, some Xbox 360 games are Xbox One X enhanced. And then the first ones that I'm showing off are sort of part of the series. And then we have Crackdown. With Crackdown 3 on the way, it's no surprise that Microsoft gave away Crackdown 1 for free not too long ago. And I believe this game is also Xbox One X enhanced. I don't know so much about the second one. I don't even know if the second one's backwards compatible. I think it is, but I might be wrong. I'm going to go through all my Xbox 360 games and sort them into all the ones that are backwards compatible, which I've been needed to do for a long time. I might do it today, I might do it tomorrow, I don't know. But what these games essentially are, well, this was sort of an early title and a launch title, almost, and basically it's sort of like an open world, we'll say GTA style game, just for sake time being, but basically you're cops and you're super cops. Essentially you can run around, jump really high, use special weapons. It makes you feel like you're a superhero. And what I loved about these games was the way the leveling up system worked in the game was if you wanted to get your driving skill better, you'd have to kill enemies with driving or do driving things. If you wanted to get your agility better, you had to do like a free running style thing, jumping up on the buildings. Really fun games, a little bit repetitive, but these games are amazing. Definitely check them out. And with Crackdown 3 on the way, it will not surprise me if both of these games get a HD remaster or some form of Xbox One version in the future. It wouldn't surprise me. And for those of you who don't know, Terry Crews is in Crackdown 3, and that game is coming very soon, and it will be on the Game Pass. Definitely will be playing that one when it comes out. I'm a big fan of Crackdown, but I won't be buying it. I will be playing it on the Game Pass. For fans of horror, I've got a few horror games here for you. The Condemned series, Condemned 1 and Condemned 2, Criminal Origins or Bloodshot. I believe they had a different name in America, but these games were very unique sort of horror experiences. And I remember back in the day, a lot of people played these on YouTube, and it was a very popular horror series on YouTube. And basically, it's a first-person horror game. And basically you're a detective, and you're going through all these weird drug crazed people, and it doesn't use guns. You can get guns in the game, but what's really unique about the game is it focuses more on hand-to-hand or melee combat, like weapons that you can find, which brings in the survival horror element to the game. But what is also great about these games is it's also a psychological horror game, and it is pretty jumpy. They are pretty scary games. I played the second one before I played the first one, and I've got to say, when I did play the first one, jeez, my heart was pumping, guys. I can assure you that. It's crazy. Coffee break. Hello. And then, if you're fans of horror games, we have the Fear series. I do have the other games upstairs, but the reason why I only brought down the first one is because it's the only one I've actually played. It's in the wrong case, but who cares. These are First Encounter Assault Recon. So essentially, think like a psychological horror game with like supernatural abilities and first-person shooter all combined into one, and it's a really good series. I've enjoyed playing a bit of the first one. I need to go back and complete it. 2, 3 and Fear Files, which is also a combination of the 2 expansion packs that were on PC put onto console. I'm surprised Microsoft hasn't actually brought out a Fear complete edition, which includes all of the Fear games remastered. I would not be surprised if that's something we do see in the future. Definitely worth playing. Like I said, these are, in my opinion, some of the best games on the Xbox 360 and games that you should get day one if you're a fan. And then, of course, we get to the biggest series on the Xbox 360. You know what it is. Halo. I know a lot of people laugh at Halo and stuff and give it hate, but Halo is a very influential game, especially towards Microsoft. You know, the original Halo on the original Xbox was a very influential game, and Halo 3, in my opinion, is what made the Xbox 360 so popular. So many people wanted this game day one and waited for it for midnight. I remember people telling me that they were waiting midnight release for this game. I've never done that. There's not been a game that I've really wanted to do that with. Plus, it's not really ideal for me. But Halo 3, guys, when you talk about a game that's so good, the multiplayer was amazing. The campaign, in my opinion, the campaign was great, was fantastic. The last mission is amazing. Such a good game. And Halo 3 was just the start of the Halo craze on the Xbox 360, because we got the Halo ODST expansion pack. Well, I wouldn't call it an expansion pack. This was basically sort of like a standalone sort of Halo 3 expansion, but instead of playing as Master Chief, you played as an ODST orbital drop strike team, basically, and like an elite UNSC soldier, and this game is really fun. It also included the firefight survival mode, which was really awesome. I remember having a lot of fun with this one back in the day. I do need to go back and play it. Now, bear in mind, if you've got an Xbox One, I would highly recommend the Halo Master Chief Collection, because it includes Halo 1 and 2 remastered, and also Halo 3 and 4, and I believe they did give away ODST and Reach as well. Speaking of Reach, in my opinion, the best Halo game of all time. Well, I wouldn't say the best Halo game of all time as much as I'd call it my favourite Halo game of all time. This was a great game. Again, single player, multiplayer, co-op. Firefight was amazing back in the day, and you want me to tell you the truth, the multiplayer in this game really took so much of my time. The multiplayer really took so much of my time back in the day, because this game, I don't know what it was. I think it was because I was leveling up the about trying to, you know, have to keep playing and grinding out and trying to get an upgraded, not upgraded armor, but you know, the different armors and stuff. I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing on the Forge world, making my own maps, downloading some really crazy modes and stuff like that. Really great game. I think it's such an underrated Halo game. And then, if you're a fan of the original Halo, they remastered it. Yes, they remastered the first Halo game. Like I said, you can get this game if you have the Halo Master Chief Collection. And I haven't played the Xbox 360 version, so I probably will give this one a go one day. And I believe all of these games are backwards compatible as well. And then, of course, we have Halo 4. You know what? I think this was a good game. It added like some new mode like the Spartan Ops, which I thought was really cool for the time. And you know, this game is really good. I think a lot of people hated on this game too much, but I think it's a very good Halo game and definitely worth checking out. And then even though it's part of a series, the Halo series, I wouldn't really class this as an actual Halo game, and that is Halo Wars. Again, I have the limited edition here. Be surprised at how cheap Halo games are these days. The same with Xbox 360. But Halo Wars was a strategic, real-time strategy game, and normally real-time strategy games do not work at all on console. But this one pulled it off, and it did it fantastically. I was playing Halo Wars 2, and I did enjoy. I was enjoying it, but I got to a mission that I couldn't do, and I sort of rage quit. So maybe I'll go back and play it again in the future. But they have done a definitive edition of that, which is the remastered Halo Wars as well. So those are the sort of like the series that I think are the best games on the Xbox 360. But I've got a bunch more here that are individual games. So just give me a minute while I just get them all out. But yeah, so here we have some individual games. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me, but South Park: The Stick of Truth. I might be a little biased because I'm a big fan of South Park. But actually stepping back and looking at this game, it's actually so well done. The story is amazing. It's, in my opinion, it's the best South Park game. I think the Fractured Butthole was really good as well. But I preferred this one, actually, surprisingly. The combat was sort of like a Super Mario RPG style combat, you know, where it's turn-based, but you can press the buttons to do more damage and things like that. It was quite basic, but at the same time, it worked really well. And I think the Stick of Truth just goes to show that you can do a TV game, a licensed game based on a TV show or a movie, and actually it worked really well. There's nothing wrong with this game apart from the fact that it's a South Park game. So if you're not a fan of South Park, I wouldn't. It's probably not. It's probably not for you. But that's not to say that it's not worth playing, because it's hilarious. Now, a lot of people might be surprised that I'm actually putting this one in my best games on the Xbox 360, but Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, in my opinion, is my favourite of the Elder Scrolls series. Now, I've only really played this, Skyrim, and online, but from the ones that I played this one the most. It's such a good game. Skyrim is a fantastic game, and I'll talk more about that at the end, probably. But Oblivion, yes, it hasn't aged fantastically, and yes, there was the game-breaking glitches that we heard about, but they never actually happened to me. So, but I've got the Game of the Year edition here, which comes with the 3 expansion packs, and yeah, it comes with a massive manual as well. It's like a mini strategy guide almost. I think that's what it's meant to be. It's like a mini strategy guide manual there, but I do actually have the strategy guide as well upstairs for this game, the normal version, the Game of the Year edition. But this was my sort of RPG. It's such a good game. There's so many quests, so many different things to do, and the fantasy world is great. I love the Oblivion setting, because I don't know why. I love going into the Oblivion gates, and it's like you're going into hell itself. It's very memorable. Was that you? What was that?
More excited.
I thought she farted. Yeah, Bethesda did such a great job with Oblivion. Yes, it's not as good as Skyrim in terms of functionality and how it looked and stuff, but I don't know. I think Oblivion just deserves to be one of those best games out there. It's so good. Now, even though this game's appeared in all of the Hidden Gems videos that I've done, I cannot recommend this game enough. I think that this game is one of the best games on the Xbox 360 in terms of an arcadey sort of Doom style, you know, some people say this is kind of like Fallout meets Doom, and essentially that's what it is. It's such a good game. It has a lot of things to do. You can do like racing as well. You can get cars. It's got Mad Max style things in there. I don't think anyone can deny just how good Rage was, and the fact that this game is getting a sequel just goes to show. And this was a 3-disc game. I think it was a 3-disc game. Yeah, it's crazy, man. 3 discs, and it had a multiplayer co-op mode, which surprisingly was really difficult. Not impossible, but it was surprisingly difficult considering the game wasn't overly difficult. But yeah, Rage, check that one out. I recommend it. And then I had to put one Assassin's Creed game on here. I could put the series, but I don't think that would do any justice, because the series sort of was good. The series was good, but some of the games weren't as good. But I think Assassin's Creed 2 is the best one to go with in terms of the best one overall on the Xbox 360. A lot of people said how good this game was. It really was a step up from the first Assassin's Creed game. I don't think anyone can deny that. You know, the original Assassin's Creed 2 was fantastic. It's gone off on this weird tangent now with Origins and Odyssey being more of an RPG game rather than, you know, I don't know. I haven't played all of the Assassin's Creed games, but if I'm going to go, you know, while my favourite is Brotherhood, I don't think it's the best one. I think this one is probably the best one on the Xbox 360. Black Flag as well is another great one, but most people played it on the Xbox One. Now, you'd be surprised that I'm actually going to put it on here, and that is Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. Guitar Hero was one of those games that everyone tried out with the guitar, and you know, it was one of those games where a lot of people were like, oh, it's more of a novelty that makes the games memorable than the actual game itself, which is true. But Legends of Rock, in my opinion, was the best Guitar Hero on the Xbox 360, and if you're going to get one, I'd recommend this one, just because it's mainly focused around like some older music, you know, but it does have its fair share of things, and I think this one was the first sort of one to also have the ability to download other songs as well and pay for extra songs as well. I don't know if 2 did that, but I know that 3 did. And what's great about this game is if you don't have a guitar, you can use a controller. And I know a lot of people say, oh, what's the point? But then it just becomes like a rhythm game, and it's surprisingly fun. Where you off? Right. Then we have Overlord. You'd be surprised as to why I've actually put this on here, but Overlord, in my opinion, it's such a good game. It's basically like, if you like Pikmin, then that is what this game is. It's like Pikmin on the GameCube or the Wii. And I really enjoyed this game. It's a really fun game. It's definitely one that you should get day one, because it's got humour there, and I don't know, it's just quite unique. It's not really like anything else on the Xbox 360. Wow. Red Faction Guerrilla. Again, this was one of those games that a lot of people overlooked, but actually surprisingly it's a fantastic game. It's an open world game set on Mars, and you know what made this game so memorable and was really good about the game was just the destruction you could cause. You could pretty much destroy 90% of the things in the game, and that's crazy, man. It was such a crazy game. Again, this game has been remastered on the Xbox One and PS4, I believe, so if you don't want to play the original, definitely check it out. I had to include one Call of Duty game in my collection, and that is Call of Duty Black Ops. Now I've already talked about how I don't like Black Ops 4, but Black Ops 1 in my opinion was where, you know, Call of Duty really, I don't know, this is where it sort of really showed improvement in my opinion. It included a really good story, a unique story kind of thing, in a different time setting that weren't in the future, and it was set in like the Cold War, which hadn't been done in Call of Duty at the time. And the multiplayer was really fun as well, and the zombies was just as great. I think after this one is where I lost interest, but I do remember Black Ops 1 being a great game, and it's definitely one that's worth playing on the Xbox 360. It's a great game. I never thought I'd call a Call of Duty game a great game, but it just goes to show that I was a fan, just not anymore. But I'll give Call of Duty Black Ops 1 the recognition it deserves. A lot of people would say that Black Ops 2 was the best one. I think the first one was the best one. I don't know why. I had to include one Saints Row game, and the reason why I didn't do it as a series is because, even though I've got them all, it's because I don't think 3 and 4 and the first one are contenders for best games on the Xbox 360. While they are great games in their own right, the first one's a little bit touch and go, to be honest. But Saints Row 2, just get a friend and play this game. That's all I'm going to say. It's such a fun game. I had so much fun with this game back in the day. It's really, really funny. If you can get a friend to play this with, just do it. It's so funny. A lot of people say it's a GTA clone. I think it's different. It's much more. It's so different to GTA in its own right. This is its own series. It doesn't deserve to be called a GTA clone. Saints Row 2, in my opinion, is the best Saints Row game of all time, and it's definitely up there with being some of the best Xbox 360 games. If you've got a friend to play it with, but even single player is fun. Even though I'm going to put here Borderlands 1, but also Borderlands 2. I don't have the pre-sequel, and I don't have Borderlands 2 on Xbox 360. But I think Borderlands is a prime example of something that was original, and, well, I wouldn't say original, but something that was really out there. You know, it really popularized this sort of idea of first-person grindy game, sort of like a Destiny style game, as some people might call it these days. But Borderlands 1, in my opinion, it's actually really good. It's not as good as 2. 2 is the best, in my opinion, and but Borderlands 1 is its own thing. It doesn't feel like Borderlands 2, but Borderlands is a great series. The pre-sequel is touch and go for some, but the Borderlands series on the Xbox 360 was amazing. Definitely worth checking that out. Now, I have the Far Cry Wild Expedition pack here, which did include Far Cry, which was meant to include all the Far Cry games, but because I bought it second hand, it only had Far Cry 2 and 3, but that's the one that I wanted to talk about, was Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3, the second one's there just to show that I have both the games here. But Far Cry 3, guys, this game is amazing. Open world, you know, first person shooter. You can go around hunting. The story in this game is really good. It's not an amazing story, but the character of Vaas, the enemy sort of antagonist, so to say, is the reason why this game was amazing. It's such a good game. Far Cry 3 is one of those games that, if you've got an Xbox 360, get Far Cry 3. And if you don't have an Xbox 360, you can get Far Cry 3 on the Xbox One and PS4 as the classic edition. which is basically like Far Cry 3 remastered almost. Now, I had to put at least one Battlefield game on here, and that is Battlefield Bad Company 2. I actually kind of cheating on this one because I haven't really properly played this game. I've given it a go, but because of how popular it was back in the day, a lot of people said that this game was the best of the Battlefield games. And Battlefield Bad Company 3, which could be happening, a lot of people are excited for. I don't really care about Battlefield anymore, and I never really did to begin with, but if I'm going to put one Battlefield game in a must play, I'd recommend Battlefield Bad Company 2, just because of how you know, it had a great story, I hear, and also the tactical destruction, as the game calls it. You know, you could destroy pretty much everything in this game. It was very memorable, and it also had like a Vietnam expansion pack as well. Then we have Dead Island again, and Dead Rising, sorry, again, even though it's got Dead Rising 2, sorry, this is Dead Rising 2, but yeah, the Dead Rising series, again, I thought this was the first one, but I do have all of them. I had to put this on here just because these games were very popular back in the day, and what's great about Dead Rising is it took something out of the ordinary. It basically meant, you know, it weren't like a traditional zombie game where you get a gun and, you know, you have to survive. It was basically you go around this mall and anything you find can be used as a weapon. The game had a difficulty curve, especially in Dead Rising 1 and 2. They were very difficult games, but there was also Off the Record, which was basically Dead Rising 2 if you played it as Frank West, but it did include a cool arcade mode where you could basically go around and do whatever you want. And this is the Zombrex edition, which comes with the making of disc as well. And then last but not least, I had to include Grand Theft Auto 4. Now this is the complete edition, which comes with the Ballad of Gay Tony and the Lost in the Dam DLC packs. But Grand Theft Auto 4 was, I remember when this game first came out, and I remember getting it, and I was very impressed by this game. Grand Theft Auto 4, in my opinion, just was a fantastic game. It's worth playing. Although Grand Theft Auto 5 may be the better game, I think Grand Theft Auto 4 was quite in tune with its roots. It still felt like an actual serious game. And it was a great game for its time, and it's still worth playing for. I don't think it's a bad game in any way. I think it's one of the best Grand Theft Auto games out there. That might be an unpopular decision by some, but definitely one that's worth playing on the Xbox 360. A few honourable mentions that I may include would be the Mass Effect trilogy, Mass Effect 1, 2 and 3 on the Xbox 360. Very popular series, you know, space, sci-fi, open world, open galaxy, should I say, RPG, BioWare, so you know you're getting a good deal there. If you also like that sort of style game, check out Dragon Age. Dragon Age was another very popular series in the BioWare universe, so to say, similar to Mass Effect in its gameplay style, but again, it was more of a fantasy RPG rather than a sci-fi RPG. Another few more that I would include would be obviously Skyrim. Skyrim is a great one, but I personally recommend getting the updated special edition on the Xbox One or PS4. There was Fallout 3 and New Vegas, both absolutely fantastic games. New Vegas, in my opinion, was the best Fallout game. They are great. Just imagine Skyrim or Oblivion set in a post-apocalyptic world.
You know, man's going on that.
And you know, it was a great game for its time.
Sorry,
again, if you like I said with Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, I'd personally recommend getting the, I'm gonna have to edit this video together, fuck's sake. I personally recommend getting 5 on an Xbox One, but if you just want to play through the game, it was very impressive to see Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Xbox 360. It really did push it to its limits, to be honest. Some other recommendations off the top of my head: the original Red Dead Redemption, worth playing the original if you haven't played. If you're playing the second one, play the original as well, because it was a great game in its own right. Again, it's backwards compatible. And those are just some honourable mentions that I don't have physical versions of the game to show off, so it's just easier for me to just add it as an honourable mention. But I want to know, guys, in the comments below, let me know what you think are some of the best Xbox 360 games. Have I missed out on any? Should I have included some? And, you know, there's a ton of Xbox 360 games that are out there. These are, in my opinion, some ones that I think are the best of the best on the Xbox 360 games that are worth getting day one if you're an Xbox 360 collector. But also, guys, you may notice that I think actually all of the games here pretty much all of the games here that I've shown are backwards compatible, with the exception of Guitar Hero 3 and a few others, I think. But it just goes to show that the Microsoft do know that what their favorite, what people's favorite games and some of their best games on the Xbox 360 were, and want to continue them on with the backwards compatibility program or the Game Pass. And I'll do that in a separate video. But if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to leave a like, and of course comment below. Let me know some of your favorite and not only favorite, but what you think deserves the contender of best Xbox 360 games. And of course, guys, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and join the family. All social media links and other things in the description below. And of course, have a nice day. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye. Oh, and my Red Dead Redemption's working again, so I might go and play some of that. Howdy.